Hey there, everyone. How you doing? I hope you've had a good week, a good day, a good month, a good year so far. Two things to talk about today. One I've alluded to for a while, and one I kind of found out about this morning, and it's in my hand right here. You might have got a small glimpse. So I saw this. I'm interested in plants and herbs, but it's not like an interest that I'm going to kind of go out of my way at this point in time to go and learn a huge amount about. But I heard about this plant. Okay, I've just plucked a little bit because I just happen to have a load of it in my front garden. This plant is called the Heal All. So I did a 5-minute amount of research on this, and supposedly good against herpes, cleaning the liver. It's anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer properties. You know, the usual kind of shebang. I don't know how much of this kind of thing you need to eat to make it worthwhile. Whether you need to eat loads of it or it's just the leaves or just the stem. I know that it is all edible. So I had one of these earlier. It's bitter, doesn't taste particularly nice. You can take the leaves off and make a tea. You could probably boil the flowers up and do something else with it. You could probably make tinctures out of it with a strong alcohol, like a strong vodka. Or whatever it is, I don't know. All of these kinds of things, and rub it on wounds and things like that. So there's probably a huge variety of ways that you can use this plant. I'm just going to gobble it up. So just a couple of key characteristics if you do go looking for it. It's got this long flower. So this whole thing there is the flower. I've picked one that doesn't have many of these little purple flowers blooming on it at the moment. So I've either picked this one a little bit earlier, a little bit late in its flowering cycle. So yeah, it's got this long stem of flowers, and they're purple, and they're quite small and pretty. And then the leaves are rounded with smooth edges, and the stem is square with small hairs on it. So those are kind of the main identifying features. Now, make sure you do your own research. Obviously, I don't want you going out there picking something that looks a bit like this, but is actually poisonous. So this is a kind of do at your own risk thing. And if you want to learn how to use it, I'm not the source of that knowledge. So that would be a case of YouTube, Google, wherever it is you're kind of going to, or a book, okay, a book on herbs and flowers and stuff. So just interesting. It's bitter. It doesn't taste particularly nice, so maybe it tastes better as a tea mixed with a bit of honey, just like a lot of things are when you're doing these things. So it might be used as a salad garnish, or like a herb, like rosemary or basil or sage or something. If you chop up the leaves and chuck it in a curry or a bolognese, or whatever it is you're cooking. So maybe you use it like that. I don't know. Here's how I'm going to do it today. Yeah, it's not hugely tasty, but it just tastes like a bit like rocket. I did wash it. I've got the bugs off because there were tiny little bugs on it. So that wasn't really what I was going to talk about today, but I found that I just saw that on TikTok this morning, noticed that I got a load out in my front garden. I thought, you know what, let's give it a go. So Barbara O'Neill says, bitter for the liver. So this is bitter. It's going to be kind of helping out with the liver stuff. So other bitter things that are good for the liver: milk thistle, parsley, coriander, like the bitter green leaves like that. So those, if you're aiming at kind of liver detox, bitter greens, that just seems to be like a general coverall, semi-rule for liver toxicity and liver cleansing. If someone had, the other thing that might be kind of slightly more of interest, considering a couple of people in the group have mentioned this, is cholesterol. It's supposed to be good for helping cholesterol and blood sugar levels. So have a little read, see if you can find it. Apparently, it's flowers between May and September, October. So keep an eye out for it. It will be in hedgerows near wooded areas, but kind of on the edge of wooded areas. I've got it in my front garden, which is north facing. So have a little look around for it. Make sure you try and identify it properly. As I said, I used Google Lens, where you can just take a picture of a plant and it will give you a good idea of what that plant is. It's not always completely accurate, so be slightly careful with it. Don't just go picking stuff willy-nilly, because some things out there if you have enough of it, will do you damage. Okay, so small amounts, generally we're going to be all right. Okay, we might feel a bit sick. Big amounts could literally kill people. So be a little bit wary about what you're shoving in your mouth and how you prepare it, whether it's cooking or chopping up or eating it raw. Some things you can eat raw, some things you can't eat raw, some things will kill you. So it's a question of knowledge. I don't have a huge knowledge base on herbs that grow naturally at all. So it's a case of maybe ask someone else who's got professional knowledge in it, or refer to books and YouTube, because YouTube has loads of great free information if you're not sure about all these kinds of things. All right, that all being said, now this next thing is something I've alluded to for a while, and today I've written it down. Okay, it's not anything fancy in particular. Whereas that one, share screen. Okay, so if I click on that, no, I'll just do it like this. If I go, let's get rid of this bit. Can I get rid of this? Yep, go away. All right, I've just sketched this out on Canva. So for me, all of this stuff can work. Every single bit of it. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what method you choose, they all can work. And some will be better than others, but most of it is based on your belief and faith that it will work. And this, unfortunately, is not necessarily just a conscious decision, it's a subconscious decision as well. So kind of depends a little bit on the beliefs and things that you developed early on in your life, because they're hard to shake. So if for like every ailment you went to the doctor and you got a medicine or a pill or whatever, then there's a strong chance that medicine and pills are generally the right way to go. But obviously, as we age and we learn more stuff, and we've learned about side effects, and we've learned about, what kind of things work for me and what kind of things don't work for me, there might be this kind of battle between your conscious and your subconscious mind about what will work. Okay, or even both sides could be in the subconscious mind. Okay, so the conscious mind and the subconscious mind might hold the belief that pills work, but they have side effects. So it's a case of which side of that coin do you want to try and change. Okay, the pills work, or the side effects thing, excuse the finger, the side effects, there are the side effects side of things, and you want to kind of minimize that within your mind. So the pills work, and you create a belief around the pills work with zero side effects. Okay, or the side effects are very, very minimal and easily manageable. So I've kind of broken it down into three, and as I was writing it, I was thinking maybe the physical and chemical could probably be separated a little bit, and they're not completely fixed. So there's a bit of there is crossover depending on how you look at things across these things. So in the physical chemical, so it's more like we are making literal physical or chemical changes on purpose, whether it's based on blood tests or like a mechanical test that a physio or a chiropractor might do, to determine that there's a structural misalignment, or there's a thing going on in your blood, or a thing going on in your body where the red blood cells the blood is saying, this is too high, this is too low. It's a mineral, it's a vitamin that's too low, your T3 levels are too high, but whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, loads and loads and loads of things. Okay. Could be all these things. Okay, so that for me, that's a physical or a chemical imbalance that has been identified or tested for to some degree. You might use MRIs, CT scans, etc., etc. So various different tools within that to diagnose a problem, and therefore, because you've diagnosed it, there's some sort of way that's either going to manage it or reverse it. Manage it or reverse it or cure it. So to me, I've put these things in there, and obviously there's more than this. This is just a few things that kind of jumped off the top of my head that are kind of in the physical or chemical realms. Okay, but they all can work. Okay, so homeopathy I've put there, but homeopathy, I would say, I mean, even all of them could be emotional. So let's say surgery. Generally, yes, it's a physical thing, but it can also be emotional for the patient. Okay, so it's the relief that something has been done. So they're not completely fixed into these boxes. And yeah, I've put coaching above here between physical and emotional. This depends on the coach and kind of what kind of coaching you're going for, whether it's health coaching, business coaching, mindset, whatever, hundreds of different kinds of coaching. Because a coach might guide you on habits to do with exercise, nutrition, hydration, might advise you on supplements if they've got particular skills in that kind of thing. But they're also looking at the emotional side. Okay, so why we don't do good habits or why we do have bad habits. So I've put that kind of across the two up at the top. And it's again similar with mindset and coaching, they're kind of hand in hand, but mindset for me sits more in the emotional, spiritual side of things. So emotional is where we're going kind of directly at the emotions. Again, mindset could fit purely into this category or not. So German New Medicine, it's GNM, not GMN. German New Medicine sits pretty firmly in the emotional category, although, if it's kind of doctor-led and the doctor has learned elements of GMN, they will support that pharmacologically. Okay, so there is some. It's not a complete negation of modern medicine. It's a different way of defining how and why we get sick, but medicine does help. Okay, and I've put psychology and hypnotherapy in there as well. Again, they could potentially drop, particularly hypnotherapy could drop into the spiritual energetic side. So when I say spiritual and energetic, I'm talking more about energy systems and meridians and potentially religious ideas. I've not put that in there. But it's those things. So there is a imbalance in our body that through some kind of treatment or possibly mindset and consciousness change, we can change the frequency of the body. So for me, everything in the universe vibrates. So this is where it all comes from. It's the principles. Everything in the universe vibrates. It has a frequency. Therefore, it has an energy. And that's from physics. Everything down to the smallest thing in the universe to the biggest thing in the universe vibrates. And if it is vibrating, in inverted commas, incorrectly, okay, or not in its healthiest expression, then that is kind of the inlet for aches, pains, illness, disease. And it is through these methods, okay, and hundreds, if not thousands of others, you can achieve a change in that frequency. I've put homeopathy over here, but homeopathy is really about frequency. But people will generally put it in, it's kind of a chemical. You're looking for a herb or some kind of tincture, some kind of oil, whatever it is, to alter the frequency of the illness or disease or health problem that you're experiencing. So homeopathy kind of is a bit of a coverall, but I would say most people see it as like, I'm going to take a pill or a drop to reverse this condition. So I'll kind of put it in the chemical side of it, rather than the spiritual side of it. Although it could quite easily go in both. For me, this is where I'm aiming. I've put down here, I will talk about all, okay? And because I'm well aware that all of it can work, okay? Some people, they definitely need to go the pharmacological, surgical route. Other people need to go the exercise, nutrition route. But other people need a psychological route, and other people need a spiritual, kind of more energetic route. My preference on this is because this seems to be the place that is more likely where a disease process, or even just a problem in life. Like, let's say, you're struggling for money, and it's like, well, my job's only paying me this much, or you've been sacked, and it's like, I need to get some work, and maybe you've applied for jobs and you get nothing back. The spiritual energetic side is where miracles can happen. Okay, it's like the perfect job just lands on your doorstep for a job you didn't even apply for. It's like you told a friend let's say you told a friend, I'm struggling, I need a job. Okay, it's like, well, I don't know anyone, but your friend goes off and talks to somebody else and go, oh, we're looking for someone. What kind of qualifications have they got? And your friend goes, oh yeah, well, they did this and they did that, and this is their work history. Oh, okay, I'm interested in talking to them. Your friend hands over your phone number. This person calls you, and this person, you have like an interview over the phone. Okay, sounds like you're perfect for this job. Okay, let's have a formal interview. Blah 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 blah. Okay, you go for the formal interview. You perform well, and you get the job. And it's 10 grand a year more than what you were earning before, and it's more close to home. And the people you work with are really nice. Okay, so it's kind of getting results without loads of action. Some actions are still kind of required, perhaps, but may also perhaps not. So in the spiritual energetic side of things, you don't necessarily need to change your nutrition. You don't necessarily need to change your exercise routine. You might, or force yourself to, but you are more likely to just naturally move towards a way of living that matches what you should have been doing all along. Okay. And the people in your life that are causing you trouble will disappear. Okay. Maybe they change. Maybe they leave their job. Maybe they, just move on, move house, move to a different area. Okay. They stop calling you. They just don't interfere with you anymore. Okay. Whereas with these other methods, it's like, well, I've got to block this person. I've got to try and, change my mindset on how to deal with this person. I've got to work on my people management skills. I've got to do a course. I've got to do all kinds of things to try and change things. But over here, that person either simply changes or they cease to be a problem. Okay. Feng Shui, I don't know if that's the correct spelling of it. That's not necessarily a specific method. This is something I learned about Feng Shui recently. So I'm not an expert on it at all, but it's a case of, maybe it's just, you don't need to know necessarily the skill. You just go, okay, well, where does this piece of furniture want to be? Does it want to be in this room? Yes or no? Okay, where in this room? That corner, that wall, blah, blah, blah. Okay, where does this want to be? Okay, and you're thinking about, okay, my greatest success and health. Okay, and that's kind of in the back of your mind. Okay, where, for my greatest success and wealth, where does this item of furniture or this plant need to be? Okay, right. Okay, I'm going to move that plant from here to over there. Okay, that feels better. Now, what about this next bit? Okay, I'm going to move that from there to there. Right, and it might only be a few inches, but that's then the kind of thing that helps the energy flow around the room. So maybe look at your desk. If you've got a desk at work, okay, well, what's going on there? Okay, you could look at your wardrobe and it kind of do the same thing with your clothes. Okay, do these clothes express my highest good? Yes, 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 no, 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 no. Okay, and you get rid of all the no's. And when you go shopping for new stuff, you go to, I don't know, M&S, Tesco's, wherever it is you buy your new clothes. Okay, you hold it in your hand. Does this express my highest good? Okay, is this piece of clothing expressing who I truly am? And yes or no. And that's kind of feng shui energy side of things. And you're asking your intuition. It's much more intuitively led. So any of them could work. Any of them could work quickly. But for me over here, this is like hard work. This is easy work. Okay, it still might take some time. It still might take some effort, but they're, for me, much easier. For you, they might not be. For me, much easier. So that's kind of why I'm over here and where I am right now. I still agree, particularly with GMN. Yeah, I like psychology and hypnotherapy. I like all of these. I like all of these. Even homeopathy, great. Coaching, great. Okay, working on mindset, great. Reiki, I'm not a huge fan of Reiki, but if Reiki is the kind of thing that somebody needs, I'm not going to tell them not to. And again, surgery required in some cases, absolutely. Pharmaceuticals required in some cases, absolutely. So it all works. Okay, through AMN and through my own self-learning, I feel like I've crossed all three of these. AMN, yeah, AMN is kind of in this. If I just add one. AMN's kind of looking at the body kind of in this neurologically, kind of biologically and chemically. It also looks at the emotion because it brings in some GMN, but it does it in its own way through muscle testing. And it's kind of looking at consciousness and truth. So muscle testing is about truth. So when you have it depends on how you ask a question. So it's probably too much for today. So I'm going to maybe come back to that another time where I've lost where I am. Hold on with me for a second. Let me just, that's why. No, that's the wrong button. That button, that's the one I need. Haha, I'm back. Right. Hey, I know you could see me the whole time. I couldn't see me. So that's where I'm at with it. And I hope you are too. But it doesn't matter. My leaning is towards the spiritual, energetic side. But if your preference is towards some kind of chemical, herb, nutrition, exercise, routine, habits, etc., 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 then that probably is the best thing for you, because we've got to go with what you believe to be true. This is all about placebo. Okay? It's all about the placebo. If you go with what you believe to be the right thing, 9 times out of 10, it will be the right thing. Okay, probably even 99 out of 100 times, it will be the right thing. So go with what you believe is the right thing, always. Okay? And if it doesn't work out, then you've got the opportunity to try something else, usually. So, yes. And again, the other beauty of the spiritual energetic side is that whatever choice you make it can only support any of the other choices that you make. Okay, so it can only support the nutrition changes. It can only support the exercise changes. It can only support the pharmacological, surgical, kind of modern medicine changes that you make. So it fits in with all of them. Okay? And it's a strong support. It's not necessarily a standalone thing. It could be, if that's the way you want to go. It's the way I'm going. Okay, I'm using diet and herbs to an extent, but I'm not like going, okay, well, that herb is for this and this herb is for that, and and kind of making a special herbal supplements to kind of change my body chemistry. I know it can be changed with mind. Okay? I know it can be changed with mind. Okay, so if for some reason I get a blood test at some point in the future and something comes up as high, it's like I know mentally I can ask my intuition, okay, how can I bring that back down into a normal range? And my intuition will say, do this, do that. Okay, right, I'll do this, do that. Because my subconscious, my intuition knows. Let's just a small point on that. Conscious mind, the thing we think with, the thing we do all our logic with, the thing we generally make our decisions with, okay, makes up about 5% of what our brain does, okay, what our mind does. The other 95-ish%, plus or minus a couple of percent either side, is subconscious. Okay, that's the thing that really knows what's going on. Okay, so conscious mind knows 5% of what's going on. Okay, so what you know, what you remember, okay, or what you remember consciously, okay, without kind of going into your intuition, is there. Okay, so that's your mouths, it's your work, it's your relationships, it's in your conscious mind. Everything else, how your body works, okay, blood, breathing, hormones, movement, lymphatic flow, all the systems of your body, your digestion, everything, all the bacteria in your body, even, okay? Neurotransmitters, hormones, all that stuff, okay, subconscious mind. Okay, your subconscious mind is running the show. Okay, it knows everything. Okay, it knows to ignore most smells. Okay, so I'm here smelling stuff. Okay, there's no particularly distinct smells in the air right now. But if there was a distinct smell that suddenly came in, my subconscious mind is constantly detecting my smell. My subconscious mind would go, hey, you've got something to pay attention to here. And now if something like zoomed past the window, there's nothing really going on right now, but my subconscious mind would take that in, even though I'm looking down here. If something happened up and over there, my subconscious mind would say, hey, something is going on over there. Pay attention to that. Because, you know, in our past, that could have been, you know, some kind of bird that meant, you know, there was a dead animal over there and a nice, cheap, easy meal for me. I don't have to go out hunting. I just need to go catch that dead thing before the wolves and the bears eat it. Hey, right, cool. I'm going to follow that bird because that's an easy meal for me, because that bird just zoomed past my field of view. So our subconscious mind basically deletes the vast majority of information that is coming into us, whether it's through our senses, like external senses like eyes, smell, taste, sound and touch. Most of that is ignored. It's below conscious awareness. Same with all the stuff coming in from my body. Okay, so the state of my digestion, unless it's going wrong. Okay, like quite not drastically wrong, but it's going wrong. It's causing pain. It's causing discomfort. It will be below subconscious, below conscious awareness, because it's pretty much it's unimportant. But muscle testing is a way of asking the subconscious mind, okay, like, hey, what's going on? Okay, and it's tapping into that 95% rather than the 5%. The 5% tells me you've got knee pain and it's affecting going upstairs. Okay, the 95% tells me, hey, this is what's going on. These are the beliefs. These are the other muscles, tendons, tissues, organs, glands, things that are going on that you are subconsciously aware of, but not consciously aware of, that are making this problem. They're creating it. That's what we're looking for through muscle testing. Intuition tells me that doesn't fully matter, and we can change it with thoughts and beliefs. Okay, that we're going to be okay. Things will heal. I can heal. Miracles can happen. Things can change in an instant. These kinds of thoughts and feelings. But it's that's also a case of, does my subconscious mind believe that? Okay, if we go back to the stuff, okay, well, what is it my subconscious mind believes? Because that's the one that is, if we look at that in terms of percentage, well, it's 95 times more likely. No, that can't be right. 5 into 120. 80 times 80 times more likely to know the answer than your conscious mind. Okay, minimum 80 times. Okay, statistically, if those numbers are right, 80 times more likely. Is that right? No, that can't be right. Oh, whatever. It's way more likely to know the answer than your conscious mind is likely to know the answer. The answer is always there. Always. The answer is always there, and it's a case of, you know, trusting intuition or trusting a muscle test. If you go, you know, I started with muscle testing. Muscle testing is a good way to move towards intuition, because it goes, right, okay, here's an option, yes or no, truth or not truth. But your intuition knows the answer on autopilot. Anyway, I'm getting off track there a little bit. So if you can find that herb, the heal all, can't remember what it's called. It's part of the mint family. Looks, you know, I can't show you again because I just ate it. There's some outside of my garden. There's purpley small flowers with a kind of a thick flower stem, and then the small round leaves with a square stem of the plant that's slightly hairy. It's good for all sorts of things. All right. And then, yeah, all the other stuff. I'm going to dive into treatment now. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've got any questions. If you've got any heal all in your garden or locally to you in the fields or parks or anything around you, have a look at it, read up on it, make sure you kind of check on what you're eating, give it a wash, because, you know, it's a pretty low down to the ground plant. There might be dogweed and whatever on it. Just give it a good rinse. And get the dogweed off. It'll be fine. And try it out. See what you notice. Or if you prepare it in a different way rather than just throwing it in your mouth and eating it raw, let me know. And what did you notice? Cool. Cheerio.